is the better player, Finn Russell or Owen Farrell? They're probably the best two British fly halves of the past 20 years. But who is number one? In this video, we're going to break down the strengths, weaknesses, achievements, teammates' opinions, and much more. Spoiler alert, it's not as easy as what some of you might think. Before I go any further though, I'm trying to grow this new YouTube channel as quick as I possibly can. So if you don't mind, would you please like this video and subscribe to my channel. So let's set the stage. Although they're only a year apart in age, Farrell born in 91, Russell born in 92, the careers look very different. Farrell, a driving force, a world-class player for 10 plus years at England, a leader from an early age. Finn Russell, a creative genius, misunderstood by a few, and didn't get the trophies that his ability deserved until very recently. Finn Russell, a creative genius, probably didn't get the trophies or the accolades that his ability deserved until very recently. You think the treble he's just won with Bath, and then going on to be arguably the best player on the winning 2025 British and Irish Lions tour. Obviously, the comparisons are natural, but there's so many differences between them. Farrell, in the English and Saracens system, very systematic, manages games, an incredible leader, and has huge influence on his teammates. Finn Russell seen more of the maverick, the risk taker. Let's have a look at the raw numbers to start with. So Owen Farrell, 112 England caps. Probably would have been more if he didn't go to France last season. 8 times capped by the Lions. 4 tours, only the second or third man, I think, to go on 4 British and Irish Lions tours. He's won 2 in Australia 2013 and in 2025. A huge character in the Drawn series in 2017. That was Farrell at his rampaging best. Finn Russell, around 90 Scotland caps now. Only capped 4 times by the Lions, and up until this series, only had a few minutes off the bench. I think in the 3rd test in South Africa. Obviously played all 3 tests this time round in Australia and was absolutely pivotal. Kind of shows, like I say, they're so similar in age, but the trajectory of the careers are so different. Whereas Finn Russell's getting the plaudits, and he's probably hitting his prime now. He's maybe cut out some unnecessary mistakes that he was making early on in his career. Whereas Farrell was ready-made, an out-and-out world-class fly half, almost from his England debut. Farrell is ahead of Finn Russell at the minute in terms of caps. I wouldn't put it past Finn Russell catching him up, because he's showing no signs of slowing down right now, whereas Farrell's probably slightly on the decline, still a top player, but probably slightly on the decline. And when you look at club level, obviously Finn Russell started at Glasgow Warriors, then he went over to France, and then he came back to Bath in the Prem over the last 2 seasons and has been a revelation. Whereas Farrell spent the majority of his career at Saracens, with a quick year out at Racing last season that probably didn't go as well as he would have wanted it to, but he's back at Saracens this season, and I'm really excited to see what he's still got left at this level, because I know, if I know Owen Farrell, the competitive beast that he is, seeing the likes of George Ford getting the plaudits, Finn Russell being the main man in the Prem, the 2 younger Smith brothers, the 2 young Smiths, should I say, they're not brothers. I know for a fact that Owen Farrell want to come back and prove he is still the man. When you compare the players in terms of trophies, if you'd have asked this at the start of last season, it would have been night and day. But Finn Russell's obviously achieved so much in the past sort of 9 to 12 months with Bath and the Lions that the difference doesn't look so stark. But Farrell is still so far ahead. 6 Prems, 3 European Cups, European Player of the Year, multiple nominations for World Player of the Year. People forget how good he was. International level, obviously lost the World Cup final, lost the World Cup semi-final, won a Grand Slam in 2016 under Eddie Jones, won multiple other Six Nations titles as well, and he was the main man in all of those teams. You think of who was the main man in any of those Saracens or England teams, the main driver, you will say Owen Farrell. Finn Russell now, he won a league title with Glasgow very early on in his career, and then over a 10-year span he won absolutely nothing. He came close a couple of times, I think, lost the European final, but then obviously what he did with Bath and the Lions, and particularly like with Farrell, actually, they were both the main. So you think of this Bath team, it's turned around in a couple of years under Johan van Graan. Got loads of great players, but Finn Russell, the jewel in the crown, the best player in that team by a country mile. Absolutely brilliant. And then he wins 3 trophies. He's amazing in the Prem final, gets the intercept passes to Max Ajomo to go over. He was absolutely excellent in that game. He also won another couple of trophies with Bath. Then he goes on the Lions Tour 2025, his third Lions Tour, and he's finally the main man, given the keys to the 10 shirt, and it doesn't disappoint. He's absolutely brilliant in all 3 tests for the Lions. But yes, obviously Owen Farrell does have the edge when it comes to trophies, but I don't think Finn Russell or Bath are done yet. I can see them winning the Prem again this season. Will they have a big push in Europe? That remains to be seen. I'll be honest, I can't see him winning anything with Scotland. Will he make another Lions Tour? I'm not so sure. But let's have a look at their strengths and weaknesses. Who's better at what when it comes to actually playing rugby? When you think of Finn Russell's strengths, you think immediately vision, creativity, unpredictability. He sees things that arguably no other rugby player on the planet sees, or there's only a select few rugby players who have Finn Russell's skill level and rugby IQ. Even Gregor Townsend, who he's had a bit of a tumultuous relationship with over the years, he's Scotland manager for many years now, he said he's one of the most skillful players to ever play the game. And it's hard to disagree with that. He might not be the most skillful, but he's certainly up there in the conversation. Nobody sees things that nobody else sees. And his kicking game is absolutely phenomenal out of hand. Like, in that Lions series, just his variation of kicking, some of his touch finders were absolutely magnificent. Arguably, Finn Russell's biggest strength is his calmness, his composure under pressure. He seems unflappable. Like, in the biggest moments, he's got a grin on his face, he's moving slowly, he's never rushed. Before the games, you see him warming up, eating sweets, listening to his headphones, in his own world. He's so calm. It's like everything goes on around him at 100 miles an hour, but he still manages to stay in the zone and calm, which is an underrated skill, and I don't think many other rugby players in the world have that. It might be a bit of a lazy argument to say Finn Russell's a better attacker and Owen Farrell's a better defender, because I think that both of those are underrated at the other thing. So I think Finn Russell's defence is very underrated, puts his heads in the spokes, very brave, throws himself into it. And I think Farrell gets a lot of unnecessary stick. Some of his attacking play on that Lions Tour was good. Put through a nice grubber for Pollock to score, I remember off the top of my head. But yeah, we've got to call a spade a spade. Farrell is a better defender. He's incredible, so aggressive, so physical. I know a lot of people will bring up the high tackles, and maybe rightly so, but I don't think it's quite as consistent as what certain people like to make out. But he plays on the edge. He reminds me of like a Roy Keane back in the day. He plays on the edge and he's going to go over that slightly, but that's what makes him him. And I heard a really interesting quote from Adam Jones, the Welsh legendary prop, the other week. So he was saying that I think he played on Owen Farrell's debut at Twickenham. It was something like that, one of his first games anyway. And Owen Farrell was stood next to a ruck where you would rarely find a 10, he was saying. And Alan Wynne-Jones, a huge hulk of a bloke, 6'6", had the ball. And Owen Farrell, aged 20, he was quite slight back then as well, was screaming at him, "Come on then, run at me." I'll try and change the words. But you use your imagination of what he actually said. "Come on, run at me, you flipping idiot. Run at me, you soft idiot." That's what he was screaming. I don't know how many cats Alan Wynne-Jones must have had by then, but it would have been 50 plus. And he's screaming at this big bloke, aged 20 odd. Just shows the mentality and the mindset and the physicality of him even then. And obviously, another obvious strength of Owen Farrell's, he is also unflappable, but in a different way to Finn Russell. His mindset is so strong. You think of some huge kicks he's made, 2017 Lions Tour. I think he kicked a big one on the 21 Lions Tour as well. Goal kicking, under pressure, he definitely takes Finn Russell in that area for me. He's deadly. In his prime, Owen Farrell was deadly from the tee. And as we know as well, excellent game management, controls the game brilliantly. Just a top world-class player. And another huge strength of Farrell's, which might maybe annoy him personally at times, because he's so versatile, because he's so physical in defence and his rugby brain is there, he can play 12 at a world-class standard as well as 10. He's played 10, 12 and 13 in British and Irish Lions tests. Outrageous skill level. Outrageous rugby intellect to be able to do that. Let's get on to the weaknesses now. Now, Finn Russell, I think, has put a lot of his doubters to bed within the space of a year. So a lot of people would say he takes too many risks. He's too relaxed in the big moments. He has a lapse of concentration. He's thrown intercept passes in big games before. And also something else that kind of went hand in hand with that was he hasn't won any trophies. But then you look at what he's done in big games and won a Lions series and a treble at Bath within the space of a year. those were the biggest criticisms of Finn Russell that were thrown at him. And they're arguably, rightly so, probably, because over a 10-year period, he hadn't produced in those big moments, or maybe he'd been quite unlucky, maybe he hadn't had enough opportunities at the clubs and country that he's playing for. But I think he's really matured in his game now. He's still a big risk taker, which is a huge positive in my opinion, but he does it at the right times. His kicking game's come on a lot now, and it's more managed risks now, in my opinion. Obviously, certain people have criticised his defence and his physicality before, but for me, I think that's lazy just because of the way he plays and just looking at him. He's not a big bloke, is he? I don't think he does many weights, put it that way. Owen Farrell's a monster, like a big old boy, whereas I don't think Finn Russell is. So I think he's a bit of a lazy criticism. Finn Russell's defence is good. I know Owen Farrell's obvious criticisms is his discipline and his tackle technique. He's had some very high-profile ones, but I do think that with Farrell, some of his high-profile incidents are high-profile because he's high-profile, because everyone knows online, newspapers, everyone knows Owen Farrell's name gets clicks. I know that. But why do you think I'm doing a video about him? Owen Farrell is the man. And it's not something he's cultivated either. It's not like a Henry Pollock where you kind of see that he wants that attention and he can live with it. Farrell's game has given him this high-profile nature. So I do think that some of the criticism he gets for high tackles is a little bit over the top because of who he is, but also, of course, there is a need to understand player welfare and player safety, and he has gone too far sometimes, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's because he's intentionally trying to hurt someone. It's just poor technique, overly aggressive. And again, another lazy criticism for me is Owen Farrell's he's not great ball in hand, he doesn't create much attacking wise, but he's a different style of player, and I think it's lazy. Owen Farrell is such a skilled player, you just had to watch him slot into that Lions tour. And some of the kicks and passes he's playing, just simple stuff. But he just makes the right choice at the right time, in my opinion. Of course, he's not as creative as Finn Russell. Who is? Finn Russell's an absolute genius with the ball. But again, I think it's a bit of lazy punditry. I think, like I said, I think they both suffer from lazy punditry in that Finn Russell's not a great defender. and Owen Farrell's not a great attacker. They're both brilliant, but don't get me wrong, Owen Farrell is miles better defensively than Russell, and Russell, ball in hand, is comfortably better than Owen Farrell. But I don't think that's a slight on Farrell. One thing that I think is so important is how other players and managers speak about players. That's something I always read into, because on social media, in the papers, narratives are created about these guys. So you need to listen to what are their teammates and people around them saying about them, because that's what really matters. They're the people that matter. They're the people that actually know. So I'm going to read some quotes out. I'll read it from my phone so I don't misquote anybody. So, obviously, as we know, Farrell's famed for driving standards, discipline in every team that he's ever played for from a young age. You see Paul O'Connell on the 2013 line, so I think Farrell's 20 or 21. He's saying, why is Owen Farrell the only one talking, driving us around the pitch? He's a 20-year-old kid. He's been doing it from then. That's bred into him from years of being in the Wigan dressing room with his dad and his uncles and his cousins. Like, he's been around elite environments for years and he knows what drives it. So, Jamie George, another England captain, said, he turned into our head coach. He is so important to this team. I can't speak highly enough of him. Like, for someone like that, a 100 capper, a 3-time tall Lion, to say, he doesn't have to say that. I know they're friends, but just listen to what he's saying. He turned into our head coach. He's so important to this team. I can't speak highly enough of him. Like, it's not just how good you are as a player. The impact you have on others it's hard to measure, isn't it? But, like, it's so important. The great captains have this. And Owen Farrell is a great captain. And then Mark McCall, obviously Saracens manager for all these years, he's described him as thoughtful, modest, but at heart a competitor. That's another thing. Like, Farrell, people think Farrell doesn't want the limelight because he's arrogant or he's moody. I think he's just a bit more introverted than people might think. I think he's just a bit more shy and reserved. He doesn't cultivate that like some other players. Some other players love the limelight, and we need those guys as well. I've got nothing but respect for people like that, but I think we should respect Farrell's wishes. It's just who he is. Moving on to what people around Finn Russell have said, obviously, he leads by example. Gregor Townsend, his longtime Scotland manager, says, one of the most skillful players to ever play the game. Johan van Gran, world class, a genius who hits a target that nobody else can see. Like, imagine, like, these are your two managers saying that. One of the most skillful players to ever play the game and a genius who hits targets that no one else can see. Like, that is high praise from two brilliant managers. And obviously, as we know, Finn Russell described himself as the Messi of rugby. For both of them, the highest praise from elite guys within rugby, talking about gaffers who have won everything, and a player in Jamie George who, again, has won everything, 100 plus caps. Like, this is high praise from elite level guys. This isn't just some youth team player saying this about these people. The career trajectories of these players is something that we need to consider as well. We shouldn't just judge them, which a lot of people do, recency bias. Don't just judge them where they are now in their career, because obviously Finn Russell is right at the very top, and Farrell's probably just over the top of the mountain now, and that's fine. He's allowed to be. Look what he's achieved. But if you look at the career trajectories, Farrell came straight into an England team age 2021 and got on a Lions tour and was a main man in both Saracens and England, winning absolutely everything, bar a World Cup. People maybe say he's past it now because he didn't do quite that well in France. Look, he went on a Lions tour and did not look out of place. Did he dominate the Lions tour like he would have done 4, 8, 12 years ago? No. But he didn't look out of place. He's still got it. He's just not absolutely dominant as he once was. I think he can go back to Saracens and win them a title this year. I think he's the Prem at that level. I think he can still be a big player. Whereas you think of Finn Russell now, he's still getting better. So even though Russell's only a year younger than Farrell, he's just hitting his pinnacle now. And you look at this, in the next 2 or 3 years for Finn Russell, you think this is going to be his prime. Farrell's prime was probably 2015 to 2020, wasn't it? Something like that. So it's a long time ago, where you think Finn Russell's hitting his prime later. But I think Farrell's lasted a lot longer. So you shouldn't judge them now, because Finn Russell is the man, probably the best 10 in the world. But Farrell was the best 10 in the world for a very long time as well. And he was one of the best 12s in the world. So we shouldn't judge them where we are now. We need to take into consideration their career trajectory. Don't just go off what we've just seen. So who is better? When you put it all together, everything that we've just discussed, Owen Farrell certainly, as of now, takes it in terms of trophies. He's dominated at club and international level. Obviously, he's played in a better international team than Finn Russell. But Finn Russell has just started winning trophies, and over the next 2 or 3 years with Bath, he could win a lot as well and make it a bit more of a closer conversation. But right now, it's a bit of a landslide in terms of Farrell. And then we look in terms of creativity, magic moments, making things happen, reasons you love playing rugby, watching rugby, should I say. Finn Russell clears that. He takes that, of course. He's a genius with the ball, and he's, like Gregor Townsend said, as skillful as any other player that's ever played rugby. Then you look at defensive qualities. Owen Farrell, incredible defender, incredible motivator. Just listen to him speak, unbelievable. And leadership qualities as well. I think Finn Russell leads by example in that. I don't know if he leads by example in terms of the way he lives his life and as a professional. I think probably not. But in terms of, I've got balls, I'm going to take the ball anywhere on the pitch, make something happen and make the right decision and have my head on the chopping block. That is leading by example. That is leading a team. So as a leader, Finn Russell, elite. He's led a Lions series. He's been the driving force in a Lions team that won comfortably as well. And he was brilliant. That is a leader, but you only have to listen to everyone that's ever played with or against Farrell describe him as leader. I've heard Sexton say things. Adam Jones, I remember him saying, like, again, another quote from Adam Jones. This is just off the top of my head. I remember him saying he went to watch Saracens train, I think. Or he might have went to watch England train. I think it was Saracens. And he was saying, like, he couldn't believe how much Farrell was running the session and driving the standards. Like, Jamie George, he's so important to this team. He became our head coach. Like, he's a 1 in a million kind of character. So, yeah. And then, obviously, he has captained club and country for a long time, whereas Finn Russell has not. But what we've all been waiting for, who is the better player, in my opinion? Now, it's difficult to say. I think Farrell's a safer bet if you're going off trophies, big games won, big moments, how decorated his career, what people say about him, longevity. But we shouldn't rule out Finn Russell. And also we need to caveat by saying the careers are still ongoing. Finn Russell, can Finn Russell go on another 4 years and win another Lions series? Can he? I wouldn't write it off because he doesn't rely on pace necessarily. Johnny Sexton went on to play until 38. I think Finn Russell's 33. Could he do it? I think he probably could. It's a stretch, but there's a chance. Will their careers look different by the end? Who knows at this point? But if I was pushed to say it, and to be honest, you don't really need to push me. I would say firmly in the camp of Owen Farrell being a better player overall when you take everything into consideration. However, if someone says to me that Finn Russell is a better player, I'm not judging them, because what Finn Russell can do with the ball, nobody else can do. What he's achieved with Bath and Lions recently has put to bed any doubts about his ability, his big game temperament, winning trophies. So if you say Finn Russell, I say fair enough. So let me know who you think is a better player in the comments, Owen Farrell or Finn Russell. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. There's plenty more where this came from.